Hello and welcome to Lutherans Alive. This is the program that seeks to tell the stories of Lutheran Christians and our ministries here in southwestern Pennsylvania. We believe that God is doing wonderful things through us here and are even around the world. I'm Pastor Tony Schneck, and today with us on the program is Marta Diehm. Marta is a member of St. John's of Highland Lutheran Church here in McCandless. But also a part of her experience has been as a young adult in global mission. Marta, welcome to the program today.
Hello, thanks for having me, Tony.
You bet. And Marta is here today to talk about her experience as a young adult in global mission. Marta, tell us, first of all, in a general way, what is that all about? What does it mean to be a young adult in global mission?
Well, Young Adult in Global Mission, or YAGM as it's often referred to, is a program through the overall kind of global mission of the ELCA. And YAGM is geared towards 18 to 28-year-olds, primarily people who are just completing undergrad and are looking for a little chance to go out and experience the world a little more and serve in a kind of global capacity. And so I was one of about 50 who served over the course of a year. My program was August of 2009 through July of 2010.
Okay. And tell us where it is that you served and what did you do there?
Well, I, along with 11 others, served in the United Kingdom. I think everybody was in England my year, although some people have gone to Scotland through the UK program. But I served about 45 minutes north of London in the county of Hertfordshire. And more specifically, I was in a very little village called London Colney. So it was out in the English countryside, but it was also nice to be about a 30-minute train ride into the heart of London. And I served at a youth retreat center called SPEC, and it is affiliated through the Diocese of Westminster, the Catholic Diocese of London and the surrounding area. And so I had a unique kind of ecumenical experience living and working at this retreat center, and I worked primarily with teenagers, 13 to 18-year-olds who came up to our retreat site as a way to kind of further their Christian education through their curriculums and things like that within their schools and parishes.
Neat. You think of the United Kingdom, you think of the Anglican Church, but here's a young Lutheran working at a Roman Catholic retreat center there in the heart of Anglican country. But certainly we're all in this together, so I'm sure it made for a good experience.
Absolutely, and I got to experience the Church of England a number of times throughout my experience, and it was a very neat kind of chance to be ecumenical and really kind of see what else is out there, especially not only from Southwest PA kind of setting, but also what else is out there in different denominations.
Mm-hmm. Could you say a bit more about what your specific responsibilities were there working at the retreat center?
England in general doesn't quite have the summer camp culture that we know and love here in the States. And so I think that it could best be described as their version of summer camp. Especially church camp, where we know, or Vacation Bible School, where we spend a week kind of in those types of settings. This is a chance for those English students to come up and experience a Christian community apart from what they might know just from their Catholic schools or their Catholic parishes. My role specifically, what you might kind of imagine in kind of a camp counselor type of role. We led Bible studies, we had campfires, we had archery on site, a low ropes course, different discussions, different fun and games and game nights. And so our role is just to kind of be a part of that community and give these students a chance to kind of connect with kind of some Christian role models, and specifically for me, people from different international walks of life.
And how old were the campers that came to the retreat center?
There was different kind of sections of the retreat center, as low as like second graders would come up for day retreats. I didn't work with the elementary school age. I was mainly with the teenagers, starting with confirmation programs that we would let on the weekends. So like 13-year-olds, our kind of junior high age, all the way up to sixth form, which is the English equivalent of a senior year in high school. So a lot of times we would have those 17 or 18-year-olds also on site for usually day retreats as part of their school curriculum.
Just going back a bit now, how does one get to be a part of the Young Adult and Global Mission program? It was something that you had to sort of sign up for, register for, or be accepted to? How does one get to be a Young Adult and Global Mission?
Just from my perspective of where I was my senior year of college, as a lot of people are considering the program as they're finishing up their senior year. And so about this time, my senior year, January, February of my senior year, you first apply to YAGM. From there, you go through a series of interviews, first with an alumni of the program, which I'm actually doing right now as part of an alumni team. I get to speak with prospective applicants. And then also you interview with some of the main directors of the program in the central offices in Chicago. From there, if you kind of get through those first rounds of interviews, then you are invited to a DIP weekend, which is Discernment, Interview, and Placement. And that takes place in April. And that is an opportunity to come and interview specifically with 2 country programs in mind. And so it actually takes place in Wisconsin, and everyone is flown in to experience kind of a long weekend of discernment and interviews that then eventually result in being placed in one of the 7 country programs.
Mm-hmm. You speak about the other countries. We had the opportunity a little while back to have Marta Spangler on the program, who also served as a Young Adult and Global Mission there in the Holy Land. Mm-hmm. Where are some other places that young adults find themselves as a part of this wonderful program?
Mm-hmm. As you said, the Jerusalem West Bank program is one of them, as well as the UK. From there, you also have a program in Southern Africa, in Malaysia, in Central Europe, which is primarily Slovakia and Hungary, and then also you have Mexico and Argentina and Uruguay. And so it's kind of a lot of different choices out there and different possibilities for people when they first apply.
Very good. You are showing a lot of enthusiasm for the program. It's good to have you share a lot about it. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back more with Marta Diehm right after this. Welcome back to Lutherans Alive. We're continuing our conversation with Marta Diehm and her experience as a young adult serving overseas in our Young Adult Global Mission program. Marta, some highlights from your year in the United Kingdom working at that retreat center. What are some of the big memories that you'll take with you?
Sure. I think that something that I will take with me for the rest of my life is just the relationships that I was able to form, not only with those that I was serving with directly at my placement site, but also those who were with me in the United Kingdom, other Yagams with me in the UK, as well as those kind of serving all over the world throughout our year. I've been really fortunate to continue up with those relationships and really take a lot from some of those experiences I've had with the people that I met throughout my year. But I think that what I take with me just from being with the teenagers in particular, I think that Yagam, prior to being sent out, they talk a lot about having a ministry of presence, and kind of this idea that it's not quite about what you do, but rather who you are, and it's not about doing, but rather about being, and being open and present to those that you are serving. As a result of that, not only can you serve, but you are also served simultaneously. So I think that, and I experienced that pretty significantly in my relationships and things with the teenagers I was serving. They were, they didn't care about my college degree or how successful I've been in life, or who I am, but they were just eager to be with me and to laugh at my accent and ask me if I know Miley Cyrus, and just overall just have a type of enthusiasm that just kind of was really wonderful to experience and to share.
It's neat. You speak about the connections that you've made with others, and including the other young adults in the program. And so it's so good whenever we can make connections with our peers who share our common faith. And there is a lot of talk about young adults, that particular demographic in our church, and how that is particularly an age group. Your age group is one that we have not always done a good job of. We are not doing a good job right now of really connecting in with our young adults. Can you say something about that? What is it that's kept you so very involved, not only in your local congregation, but in this program, to want to serve in this way? What's kept you connected with the church as a young adult?
This program came at just the absolute perfect time for me, and I think that kind of is true across the board, and why young adults can find such a connection through this program coming right off of their college years. Growing up in the church, if teenagers are connected through LYO and going to national gatherings and kind of having that high school church experience, of course that can then lead into campus ministry and a lot of things that people can kind of continue to form a community, a Christian community throughout their college years. But I think that it is right after college, you kind of have to wonder what now. And what is my place in the church? And, I'm not planning on getting married or having kids in the next couple of years, so where does that leave me in a church community? But fortunately, this program, as I learned, came at the perfect time, because I, from that first interview event where I met like the 50 others who were going through the process with me, I felt an instant connection and an instant sense of community with those who were kind of going through the experience with me. And I think that is what makes this program a really just all around a great experience, especially if you are even looking to kind of seeing if leadership in the church is for you, and where you might be able to continue to serve the church. I know a lot of my friends, myself included, after a year through Yagam, seriously consider maybe a call to ministry or other kind of considerations, figuring out what might be next for them in their faith life. So for that part of the experience, I'll be forever grateful.
Another Christian community post-high school graduation can really be important and make a big impact on a young person. As you talked about campus ministry, and there are Lutheran campus ministries all over at so many schools, big schools, small towns, where smaller Lutheran congregations can reach out to kids in a college town. Working at camp, taking a summer to work at one of our Lutheran church camps, as you spoke about, and also now this young adult global mission experience is another option for some of our young people to continue their faith life post high school graduation. That doesn't get lost. That we can still be connected in, even if we're somewhere else, going somewhere else. And it sounds like that's what you did, Marta. And you stayed connected.
Absolutely.
Very good. Other things, other ways that you feel as if you've been impacted by this experience. What's it meant to you for your faith journey, and how's it helped you?
It taught me a lot about just kind of letting go of the reins a little bit. I'm one that throughout my busy 4 years of college, it was always I was busy and trying to make the grade and trying to be successful, and kind of surrounded in this American culture of productivity, where I learned that it's okay to let God take the reins a little bit, and that you can have some amazing, worthwhile, faith experiences without kind of feeling like you have to be in control of them, and that certainly was kind of a theme throughout my year as I learned, some of the expectations and some of the things that I was hoping to get out of my year. It's okay to have some expectations and hopes and dreams to an extent, but they're also okay to let go of, especially when you're thrown into situations, as I was a lot of times in this new environment, where it was okay to just not have the answers and not be so concerned about of kind of being in control.
Just hang on and enjoy the ride.
That's right, and everything will happen just as it's supposed to. Good. And that the love of Christ will be with you no matter what situation or place you're in.
Thanks so much for what you've shared so far. We're going to take another short break, and we'll be back with more on Lutherans Alive. Welcome back to Lutherans Alive. Marta Diehm is with us on the program today. Marta's speaking about her experience as a young adult in global mission. And now on this side of the experience is doing some discerning of vocation, as many young adults do. I thought we'd say a few things about that, Marta, about what is it, first of all, there may be some out there who are unfamiliar with that word, vocation. It's more than just a job. It is, our vocation is something that we're called to do. Can you say something about that discernment, wrestling with that as a young person, and how perhaps the global mission experience has helped that?
Yeah. Well, vocation is something that it's a buzzword that was brought up a lot throughout our year, not only through the ELCA's kind of orientation and preparation for service, but it's also something that we talked a lot about just within my circles in the UK and the retreat center I was working at. But yeah, I think that vocation is something where people just automatically think vocation means that I'm going to go serve the church. But it's really instead serving where your heart is and where your deepest passions are. And so that could be working in the church. That could be being a nurse. That could be, working, delivering mail. There's your vocation can be a number of things, and it's really about finding that thing that makes you feel the most like you, and makes you kind of thrive in a way that God intends us to thrive.
During the break, we were remembering that quote. It's by an author by the name of Friedrich Buechner, and it's my favorite quote about vocation, and that is that the place where God wants you to be is a place where your deep gladness and the world's deep need meet. So it's something that gives you great joy and gladness, but yet at the same time, you are making a difference in a world where there is need. And gosh, we as a church need to be helping our young people, our young adults, in the discernment of that. Where does God want you? And it's wonderful that we have a program like the Young Adult Global Mission Program that can help young people be in that discernment process.
Mm-hmm. I think it also made me kind of realize that even though I've been fortunate to have this experience and I went out into the world to serve and kind of find a sense of vocation, a vocation can be right in your backyard as well, and you don't have to travel far to be able to kind of discern and realize where you might fit best. And so I think that's been important to keep in mind, especially for myself and others who are kind of at a crossroads thinking, what next after an experience that had such an impact.
What words might you have for the church in general as a young adult, speaking from your own experience and from your own heart? How can we as a church help young adults better than we're doing right now?
It's a loaded question.
It is.
I think that for me as a 24-year-old, having opportunities even just to connect and meet other 20-somethings within the church is really crucial. And I think that, a lot of churches will have the teenage high school kind of Sunday school class, and then there's always kind of that that like young 30s Sunday school class that I guess that's where the mid 20-year-olds fit, but yet that's not always, I think, where young adults feel like they fit best, especially if those are the types of Sunday school classes and ministries in the church that are related to parenting and marriage and things like that. So I think really just allowing and giving space and opportunity for young adults to connect within the church setting is really important. I learned that firsthand just when I realized how much I was blessed to meet 50 like-minded 23-year-old Lutherans. It was kind of mind-boggling at first, because it was like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden here's 48 other people who were camp counselors and probably have some kind of relative who's a pastor, and also went to the ELCA youth gathering when they were in high school. And so yeah, I think it's with a lot of ministry, it's about making that connection and really being able to form those relationships.
And how neat that must have been to be a part of a group of your peers, every one of them pretty serious about their faith, pretty serious about their life with God and their life in the church, to the point where they're willing to do this for 11 months, right? To take almost a year of their lives to serve the church in this way, do some vocational discernment, have some fun along the way.
We joked that a lot of times when we were all together at orientation and things that it just felt like a constant chorus of A Mighty Fortress Is Our God was just playing in the background. Like, oh, here's my Lutheran community that I was looking for. Here they all are. So it was, yeah, I'll cherish it forever.
Good. Well, thanks so much for being on the program today, Marta.
Absolutely.
Thank you, and may God continue to bless your life in the church, your service to the church. And thank you for your encouraging words today, not only for the church, but particularly young adults in the church to serve and to get involved and make their voices heard.
Absolutely.
All right, and be connected.
That's right.
All that. And thank you for being with us today on Lutherans Alive. And we know that from wherever you're watching, in your community, near your community, there is a Lutheran congregation that would be very, very pleased to welcome you. We hope that you'll come and worship with us, and we hope that you'll visit us next time on Lutherans Alive.